Tell us a little bit about the experience of you guys working with Mark Hoppus from Blink-182.
Oh, well, this most recent experience was on our new record, My Dinosaur Life. He previously worked with us, we worked with him on Commit This to Memory, which was 2 records ago. Yeah, it was pretty much the same. It's just a rad guy. He's very, very intelligent and very easygoing. Also very funny, but he tends to like split it off, you know. So like if we're having funny time, it's really funny. But then if we're getting down to business, it's very serious. But he creates a very relaxed environment with which we can just kind of, you know, do our thing. And he's like, you know, if he's got suggestions, he's like, here's what you do, here's what you do, here's what you do. But sometimes he just kind of lets us like get crazy, and then he kind of reins us in. Right. But it's very good. It's so far of the people we've worked with, no offense, but Mark's been my favorite. So.
Okay, great. And thing that was a little bit negative, Tony's arm injury came at a kind of a bad time. Tell us a little bit about that and how it maybe changed the plans for you guys.
Well, we flipped it around because Tony broke his arm in January of 2009, and we had started writing for this record in 2008. It was supposed to come out a lot sooner, so we had a good portion of songs, like maybe a dozen songs written, and then he broke his arm, and then we tried different ways of working around that. So for the whole first half of 2009, we wrote by, Matt would write an idea down, record it, send it to Josh. Josh would add guitars, he'd send it to me, I would put vocals on, send it back to Matt, and we just kind of would, you know, send things back and forth. We tried to play with Tony, to rehearse with him with one arm, and it was very weird. So he had his arm in a sling, and then he was trying to play things with one arm, and it just kept messing him up, and it got worse. So we stopped doing that, and then eventually we just went in with the ideas that we had. Tony didn't want to hear them because like Matt would write filler drum parts, and Tony didn't want to hear them until they were done. So we would record the songs. He was still in therapy. He had surgery and everything. We were doing the record. We didn't even know if he could play on it yet. We were just hoping that he'd be fine by the time we went to get his parts. And so we would send him the versions of the songs without drums, so just the music that we were recording, and then he'd come up with ideas in his head or on a practice pad. And then finally his arm was deemed well enough to record with, and then so the last 5 days of recording, he just laid down all the drum tracks. So it was kind of crazy. During that one-arm process, were there any Def Leppard jokes going around? Yeah, there's a lot of Def Leppard jokes going around all throughout, and I think they still go on, and I don't think that he's, you know, too excited about that. I mean, it's not exactly the same thing at all, but, you know, like his arm's back and working, full working condition. It actually got infected after there was a rod in there, it got infected, she was crazy, and they had to go in and take it out, but now his arm is perfectly fine. He's got a wicked scar, you know, bones heal, chicks dig scars, I think that's the quote. I don't know.
What's, you know, the craziest thing you guys have seen on Warped Tour that you could talk about? I don't really see anything. I don't know that I find anything that, you know, like mind-blowing. I think it's pretty crazy that kids can stand around in like 114-degree weather and still jump up and down screaming songs. That amazes me. That happened in Arizona. I don't know how they did it. But yeah, the endurance of the crowd is pretty mind-blowing. And you know, over the years, or even this tour actually, which bands have you kind of made new friends with? New friends? I don't know. I'm really bad at communicating with people. I don't know if you can tell, but I have a hard time like doing things. But we have met. I mean, I've had more conversations with people in the Alkaline Trio this year than I ever have, so that's really cool. And it's just, you know, I'm kind of in awe, and I try really hard not to be like a weirdo around them, but I really like their band, and I'd say they're, of the bands I've watched on this tour, they're the most, like I've seen them about 4 times on this tour, but we've been friends with the All American Rejects for many years. Great guys. I'm trying to think of other bands that are playing. Newer friends, Set Your Goals and the Swellers. I had a workout session going with Nick from the Swellers and our merch girl Beth, and we were going pretty strong for a while, and then we just kind of gave up a few days ago. So I don't know. But yeah, there's some bands.